Hello, hello. I realized as I was getting started that I had forgotten to get my drink out. Whoops. Just waiting a couple of minutes for everybody to find us. Hi Nancy. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you got everything, got your kit. I'm just adjusting cameras and stuff while we're waiting. I'm gonna turn that light down a little bit so it's not quite so glary. Hello. This is Connie, and tonight is our Light Up class. And tonight we're gonna make a couple of cards that light up. So you can see his little flower when you push his foot, his little flower lights up, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. Oh, good. And then on this one, when you push on this little mushroom, it lights up around her wand and down here, and you can see it show through the die cut. So those are the cards we're going to make tonight. And I want to show you a few others. But before we do, what I did, I heard from several people who said they weren't going to be able to make the class tonight. Hey, Noelle, I hope you're feeling good. Jen asked me how long it would take for you to get over the pain from your scan today. I said, she's probably okay. All right, anyway, before I get started, I just wanted to show you that I have a little drawing for us. I put the names of everybody who joined, who purchased the class kit into a kitty to win this. So you may recognize it. This is the VIP Hip Hip Hooray kit. I purchased it, back in 2021 when it was a VIP special, and basically it was a $58 kit. It includes enough paper, cardstock, and stickers, stamps, little acrylic embellishments. It has cards, card bases and envelopes, page protectors, and it has enough to make 3 two-page layouts and several cards. I even printed the instructions because I know sometimes on these older kits like this, people struggle to find instructions, although you're certainly welcome to do anything you want with it. I love these. I purchased it for myself. Did I make it? No. And I decided, when I was purging my stash, sorry it's on this weird yellowish paper. My husband brought that home from work. But anyway, I thought I was going to sell it. And then I was like, well, that's silly. I've got a class coming up. I'd much rather have one of my customers get it. And so we're going to do a drawing real quick for the people who entered the class. And I stirred this up pretty well, but somebody's going to win. Who is it going to be? Nancy. Hey, Nancy, check it out. That's for you. I will mail that to you. Let me get this out of the way. Congratulations. Woo! That's very exciting. I'm happy that someone got it who had not received it before. So the reason I chose Friday night is because Steve's out of town, and I was like, I'm probably not going to be super busy. Let me just do this class then. And then I realized, most people have, things happening on Friday. Yes, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Okay, so I want to show you just a few other examples. Now, I know I did a live with this one of my Wednesdays. showing these cards, and I just wanted everybody to have that opportunity to make them if they wanted to. And so this one is my favorite. It's one of my favorites. The reason I keep putting the little piece of paper in there is to break the connection between the battery so that it won't stay lit, because if it stays lit, you know, your battery wears out. And I have a couple of them that I just sort of set in a pile and the battery was out. This one is really cute. This one is not close to my heart, but I love it anyway. And I have a weird connection in it. It has 2 light bulbs in it, and sometimes it lights and sometimes it doesn't. So this one I kept for myself, but it does make it flicker a little bit when I move my hand, and it makes it look like fireflies. So I thought that one was really cool. I probably would have included this one in the kit if it had been close to my heart. And then this is the one I left. This is the one that I left with the battery running. That wasn't very smart. And so the light bulb is behind the candles and it's not lighting right now. But this is just some other examples of things you could do. My other thought was, you know, we have all those fireworks stamps, and it'd be really cool to put a couple of lights in the fireworks. That'd be I have a couple of graduation cards to make, and in the middle of stars, I might make light up cards for those. I just think those are really, really cool. So before we open our kits, I want to show you what's in your kit and what we use tonight. I have a couple of stamp sets. This one is called Fairy Tale Magic, and this one is called Berry Special, and those are the sets I decided to use tonight. Now, you wouldn't just necessarily look at those and go, oh yeah, those would make great light up cards. But for this, I think it worked really well. And then you need 3 things basically for these cards. If you decide that you want to make these yourself, it's not that expensive to purchase all this stuff. These little batteries, these CR 2032 batteries, I just purchased them bulk. Like I think I think these came in a 50 pack. Yeah. So, you know, and they're a lot cheaper to purchase that way. Like if you run into CVS, I bought one not very long ago for my dad for his blood glucose meter, and I think they wanted like $4 or something for one, and these come out to, you know, less than 50 cents each. And then you have to have some copper tape, which helps you make the connection. And then you need light bulbs. Now, the light bulbs that there's different brands, and it doesn't really matter what brand you use. This is a pack of multi-colors. So there's red, yellow, white, blue, and green. And I thought, oh, that'd be fun for like the fireworks thing, or for Rudolph's nose, or, you know, we talked about this in my other live, and then I bought this pack, which is just yellow, because initially I just bought this pack and I thought that'll work. Cause that's all I'm really going to do. I'm not going to make billions of these things. Look how many lights I've got. My gosh. But then I started playing around and I thought, oh, I want the other colors. And you can see I used quite a bit of the yellow ones out of here already. Okay, so those are the 3 things you need to use to make these cards. And before we get started, I want to give you a little tutorial on how the batteries work, because after you understand that, the rest of it just makes more sense. Okay, so the batteries have a plus side and a minus side. And the plus side is marked. If you look really close, you'll see there's a little plus sign on the top there. And the lights have a plus and a minus. So, if you get out your kit, there are 3 envelopes. Go ahead and take those out. One envelope is the black card. You can set that aside. We'll do that one last. One envelope is the white card. We're going to do that one first, so put that on top. And the third envelope is supplies. So the bulky feeling envelope looks like this. It has copper tape, it has some batteries, and it has some light bulbs in it. If you want to go ahead and empty out your supply envelope and just set them, you should have 3 light bulbs and a couple of batteries and some copper tape, and just kind of straighten that out the best you can and set it kind of off to the side. We'll use that in a moment. So what I want you to do is look at your light bulbs, and one of the prongs is longer than the other. That's the positive. And if you put the positive to the positive side of the battery and the negative to the negative side of the battery, your light will light up. Now, if you get it backwards, nothing really happens other than, like, you don't get shocked or nothing happens. It just won't work. Just like in your flashlight batteries, when you put them in backwards, nothing happens. So I just want you to test out all of your lights and make sure they work. I hope you don't get any duds. That would be terrible. Like this one looks like, I don't know why that one's not lighting. Let me try this one. There, ding. I've never had one not light, so I didn't send extras because I never dreamed one would not light. But that one doesn't light, doesn't want to light, doesn't have a desire. I'm gonna throw that one away. Boom. So these lights are the other brand. You can see the difference. I sent you the bolder lights instead of the softer lights, but in a lot of the cards, it really doesn't matter. But if you're gonna purchase, you know, that you may make your decision that way. And you can see one battery will light multiple lights. Okay, so let me just give you a quick down and dirty of how this works. I'm gonna get a pencil, and I got a scratch piece of paper here. Don't do anything to your cards or anything. You can open your batteries while you listen if you want, and check your lights. And let me know if you get one that doesn't work, because that's weird. I've never had one not work. Okay, so let's just say we want a light here, and let's just say we want a light there. And then we want the battery here. And this is where we're gonna push, okay? What we wanna do, since the battery has a positive on the top and a negative on the bottom, this is going to be negative. And then we're going to take our light and we're going to spread apart the prongs. And we're going to have a positive prong and a negative prong, okay? You would not have to write this on your piece of paper, but I want you to be able to see what I'm talking about. So if the light goes there, you have a negative and a positive. So here's your positive prong, here's your negative prong. This is negative, and then the positive is on top. So what we do is we take a piece of our tape, okay, and it's a sticker. It's sticky on one side, so be careful. It's really thin. It's annoying. It sticks to itself. It's kind of like aluminum foil. You know how it gets all messy. Anyway, we're gonna put that on top of the negative prong, and we're going to take that tape all the way to, see it folded on itself, dang thing. We're gonna take that all the way to the negative. I may have to, if you ever tear your tape or screw it up like I did, like bunched it up, I try to take it off just a little at a time, like this. You can patch it with another little piece of tape and it'll still work. As long as that connection doesn't have any breaks in it and it has a good connector with your negative prong. So it goes negative all the way down to negative, and then your battery will go on top of it. So see how that copper tape is going to touch that negative side. Now we need to do the positive. Now, the positive cannot touch the negative, or it doesn't know what to do. It gets confused. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a path. So we're going to put a piece of tape like over this and draw it down and make it go over. And by doing that, it won't touch, it won't interact. Like if I had it go like this, it might touch right here and then it won't work. It's like the battery is confused. All right, so I'm just gonna this time I'm gonna slowly peel it off just a little at a time. See, I've got it hooked onto the back here, and I've got the positive, and I'm putting that good connection. I'm gonna bring it down. Now, when you get to a place where you need to turn, this is a weird thing, okay? I want you to turn away from where you're trying to go and fold it. This is sticky side up here. This is stuck down. And then you just fold it back over itself. It kind of makes a corner. And then do you see when the positive touches the light bulb, it makes your light up. So I'm going to bring that up close. I'm going to show you again. This is negative and the bottom of the battery is negative. So we're going to have that touch the bottom of the battery. And then the positive touches the positive prong and the positive side of the battery. Ta-da! It's like a little trail, and you just don't want them crisscrossing. And what happens is when you push down on it, it makes it light up because it makes that connection between negative and positive really strong. And sometimes if you let go, you know, the battery kind of lifts a little bit. So what I've been doing in my cards, which you can see, is I'm tucking like a piece of cardstock right here to keep there. Like if you were sending it in the mail or you were giving it to someone, you wouldn't want it to be lit all the time because, you know, it would run your battery down. So you put a little thing in there and you just say, pull this out. And when the person pulls it out and pushes on the teddy bear's foot or whatever you decide to have them push on, ta-da, just like that. So like in this case, I did the battery is under this planet, and I made a positive and negative from here and a positive and negative from here. And when you pull that out and push, you can see you get a connection. Now, the reason it's so fickle and flickery is because the way it's touching the battery, it depends on which side of the battery I push on. Like if I push the whole battery flat, both sides light up really even. But if I'm just kind of pushing off to the side, whichever side of this battery hits is which light it's lighting up. And so it does make it kind of cool for like stars and stuff like that, right? Okay, I'm gonna put that away. I keep having trouble putting this piece of paper in here. There we go. This is the basics, and it's gonna be so easy. I promise I'm not going to torture you with things that are hard. Maybe I'll just leave that there for a minute. Okay. Let's get out our first kit. That's the teddy bear kit. I did my homework at 6:45, so it's not all done. I'm sorry. The envelope you can set aside. You'll use that when you mail it. I just colored my teddy bear like minutes ago. And the card that we're making is this one right here. So you have several pieces, and yours may not match mine. Yours may look a little different. You have a stripy side, and you have a card base. You have a stripy side. You have this little piece here. You have your teddy bear. So just to kind of lay it in place so you know what each piece is for, I gave you a straight one so you can use that at the bottom. I just felt like it needed more color, and you can use it or not, whatever you want. And then you can pick whatever. I just stamped them all that came with the kit. You can pick what you want and make a little message. I'm not going to do that right now, so I'm just going to set that aside. Okay, let's set our strip aside too. That's decoration. And let's talk about this just for a minute. So the first thing we're going to do is decide where we want our light. Before we glue anything down, do anything else, we need to decide what we want to light up, right? And we decided we wanted this cool little center of the flower lit. So I'm going to take my pokey tool. I'm going to poke a hole in the center of that flower. And I want it to be a fair size. You can do two things. You can make it so that you can make it big enough so that your light bulb actually pops through that flower, or you can make the hole big enough where it just shines through. This one just shines through. I'm going to put that really close. See, it's not poked up into the flower, but you can sure make it that way. I find it's easier to have it laying on the paper like that and shining through than it is to, like make it do the splits and have it sit upright and poke up through. It just depends on if you're going to mail it or not, but that's kind of a weird little thing. So my pokey tool makes a really small hole. I need a bigger hole. So I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to try to, I think what I ended up doing on the other flower was I actually used a hole punch. Okay, there we go. I want the center of that flower big enough for the light to show through. There, see? Look how big I made that. Okay? Everybody with me? Now, what we're going to do is kind of center your bear on to your yellow piece. And this is honey butter, and it has two sides. It has kind of a lighter side and it has a darker side, and you can pick whichever side you like the best. I kind of like the darker side, so I'm going this way. So this is your moment where you're deciding which side of yellow you want to use. And what you're going to do is you're going to use a pencil, and you're just going to really lightly put a circle through that hole where you want the light to show, okay? Just don't make it super dark. I'm making mine dark because I want you to see it. but you don't need to. You just need to know where your light bulb is going to go. The other thing you want to do is you want to know where your battery is going to go, okay? And what I did was I put my battery under the yellow there's the yellow piece. I did not put the battery between the bear and the yellow piece. I put the battery under. So let's go ahead, for now, go ahead and pick whichever side of this pattern that you like. Maybe I'll make this one striped just for something different. And go ahead and attach it to your card. And you want to use a fair amount of adhesive. It's going to take a lot of, you know, people will be using this card. So you don't want to just use really light adhesive because you want it to hold up. Okay, so I attached the pattern to the front, and then don't attach your teddy bear yet, but hold it in place where you want it and put it on here. And we're just holding it in place, okay? And I want it up a little so that it'll keep room for my cool stripe at the bottom, if you're going to use it. If you're not, it's no big deal. Now, I'm going to kind of lift the whole thing and kind of eyeball where my teddy bear's foot is. Okay. So, there's where my teddy bear's foot is approximately. That is where my battery is going to live. Okay? So that's what it's going to look like. Now I need to punch a hole through my yellow cardstock because I want to put the light bulb underneath the whole thing. So here I go again. I'm going to pop a hole through with my piercing tool, and I'm going to use my pencil and ream it out. Now, if you have a hole punch you'd like to use, there is nothing wrong with using a hole punch. I'm being lazy. Thank you guys for watching tonight. I hope that this is a fun project for you. Ta-da! Okay. We're going to line it all up again. We're not attaching anything yet. We're going to line up our foot with where our battery goes. We have our hole in here, and we're going to draw another pencil line through the holes. Now we know where we want our light. Okay, look at that. Isn't that going to be cute? So we're going to push here, and we're going to put the light there. Okay. Everybody there? I'm giving us a moment. I'm going to open my other battery while you make sure that you're caught up. Give me likes or yeses or whatever. Or if you need more time, yoo-hoo at me, because it is really, it is sometimes takes longer. If you don't know where we're going, it takes a little longer. Okay. Now, you're going to take your light, and remember the long leg, the long prong is positive. So that goes to the positive. The short one goes to the negative, right? Positive and negative, and it'll light up. Just double check it again. You don't want to go through all this work for it to not work. And we're going to make it kind of do the splits a little bit, and we're going to separate it and lay it where we want our light to be, right? Now, I'm pushing the prongs down to the page, and remember that this one is positive and this one is negative. Everybody there? Now, we've got that big piece of copper. We need it to connect so that it will work, right? We need that to all connect together. And so what we're gonna do is start to peel a little bit of that copper. It's so flimsy. It's so flimsy. It's really light. It's like dollar store tinfoil or something. It's like super easy to tear. So if you tear it, just get a new piece or make a connection like we did before. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick that negative prong underneath, make a really good connection there. You don't want to break the tape, but you want that to be a really good, you want it to make good contact. And then stick it all the way down to where your battery is going to be, and then just snip it. And that's what it should look like. All right. Now we're going to make that other path, that positive path, okay? And remember, I'm going to make that path. I'm going to take tape. I'm going to go over that prong, go down, and then go over, okay? So we're going to take that tape, peel the back off. You do not want the positive and the negative to crisscross. So we're going to go down. And when you get to the battery, you know, like I said, if you have to turn into the battery, turn away first, like this. And then, you know, the battery will be here, and you see the little plus sign, right? Can you see that? I hope. The way the light's shining on it. Sometimes it's hard to read, but there is a little plus right there. And we want this tape to go on top of the battery, and we snip it. Okay. We're gonna put this aside, cut off the excess. We're gonna use that for the next card. Okay, now's the time to test your light. Now, I have a light that's not lighting up. There we go. All right, so if you know that your negative of the battery is touching the tape and the positive of the battery is touching the tape, check your prongs. Push down on your prongs and see, like, this one is making great contact. This one is a little fiddly. And if it does that, push on it, and then you could even take more tape to make a better connection. So the idea is you want a really good connection that's consistent. You know, when you push the button, you really want your card to be consistent. So sometimes I'll just take an extra little piece of tape and add it so that more of the prong is making a connection. Sometimes you just need more coverage. And so I'm going to do that on both sides. You don't, sometimes the reason I had you get Scotch tape is because sometimes you need your light bulb, you need this part of your light bulb like taped down or something. Sometimes that's the reason. But either way, you just want to make sure everything is making a solid connection. And then when you later slip that little piece of paper under the battery, it'll break that connection on the negative side like that, and it won't light up. And then when you take it out and the person pushes on the foot of the bear, it will light up. Ta-da! Isn't that cool? Okay, so everybody here? Anybody not here? That's sort of the crux of the card. Now we're to the point where we can start adhering. So we can now adhere our teddy bear to the front. And make sure to line up, you know, your flower. Now on my card that I made, you see that black squiggly line around the edge. If you're gonna do that, now is the time. You know, this is something I do on a lot of cards because it needs a little something. And sometimes you can stamp a little something around the edge, or you can shade it with some ink or something. But what I like to do is just kind of squiggle back and forth, and no rhyme or reason, just squiggle back and forth, wavering. And it does not obviously have to be perfect. And then when I go back the second time for the second round, I go opposite and make the lines intersect like that. So, and sometimes I'll even like do a little like squiggle like that. And to even make it, you know, even more doodly, sometimes I'll even add like a few dots around the squiggled line. And you can add that later, but it is something that is, sometimes it looks good and sometimes you're like, I went too far. Your choice, you know? There. Ta-da! All right. I don't know why in my head that added something to it. You might have thought, wow, I ruined that. I don't know. But basically what we need to do now is attach this, you know, to the bear and see how I'm pushing and it's lighting up the little flower. Isn't that cute? But, so I'm going to write push on the foot. Push here. You have to have small writing. Push here, or just push. Okay, now before we attach this, the problem is that light bulb, it really sticks up, doesn't it? It's high. My light bulb is still fiddly, and I think I need to, it's got like a tiny angle that it works at. Like if it's flipped up, it works better than if it's laid flat. So I'm just gonna put a tiny piece of foam tape under it just to keep it from there. Ta-da. These light bulbs, they're cheap little things. So, okay. Remember how I told you we need foam tape? I wasn't kidding at all. So I have this wagon wheel of foam tape, and one layer is not enough for that light bulb. I'm going to need 2 layers. So what I like to do is take my foam tape and fold it on itself to make it like doubled, and then just kind of stick it together like that. And look, I have a double wide foam tape. Have you guys used these Teflon scissors from Close to My Heart? They're amazing. They're amazing. They're like, they don't stick. These scissors, I can't even tell you how many times I've had to use undo on them because I grab them and it's like, oops. All right, so what we're gonna do, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a little house for our battery, okay? So I'm gonna make one side of my foam tape sticky. This is sticky. And I want to make it so that so that my battery does not fall out. It won't really fall out. The only thing holding it in right now is this little piece of tape. Not much. So I'm just gonna use a little foam around this battery to make a little house for it so that it won't fall out. Because, see, I'm using, one side is sticky, one side still has the stuff on it, see? So I'm just sticking it down. This way, when I put this down, this battery won't shift, it won't move, it won't break my tape. It's just a nice way to do that. And then to make it even all around, I need to put tape all across the top, right? And down the side. So you can kind of take your piece and figure out where you need tape. I need extra tape around the battery because my battery is, I put that foam underneath there and now it's really sticking up. It's really sticking up. And you don't really want, there. You don't really want any squishy parts. Like if there's no foam right here, like on my card, it's going to be like saggy right there. So it's probably a good idea to fill in with a little extra. And if you have, you know, extra thick foam tape, this is not extra thick foam tape, definitely use it. Gosh, this is, so we'll do that there. When I put it all together, everything's got tape around it. Now it's time to peel. Any questions? You guys got any questions? Are you getting hung up? This is kind of a weird thing to build this little house around your battery, but it keeps the battery protected and it keeps it from getting cut off. Now you can put tape, Scotch tape over it, but remember your copper tape has to make a good connection. So there are some, like if you look this up on YouTube, how to do this or something, you'll see people using Scotch tape instead of this method to hold the battery down. Sorry, I'm just checking, make sure I got all my stuff off here. Okay. Now I'm just gonna put this in place. I got all my foam tape. Isn't that cute? Now I push on this, look at that. Isn't that adorable? Ta-da! Push on his foot and he lights up. Now I can decorate the rest of the card. So if you're like me, and again, you can use, you know, whatever side you like best. I'm just going to put that at the bottom, and then you can pick, you know, whatever. Here in this one I used You Are Berry Special, and I just kind of trimmed real tight around it. I didn't want to cover up the bear very much, so I didn't make that really big. You could even put your message on the inside, you know, sending a big bear hug on the inside, or You Are Berry Special, and just leave it like this. You could put, if you've got other embellishments that you like, you could do it on this card. How is everybody? Are you done? Are you done with the bear? Isn't that cute? Now, the very last thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick a little piece of, I have a little scrap of cardstock, and I left, you noticed I didn't make the house around the battery all the way around. I only did it on 3 sides, and that is so that I can stick that little piece of cardstock in there and keep it from working. So what you're doing there is basically disconnecting the battery enough. And then I usually write on here, pull out with an arrow. That way, I mean, really, you don't want to send a card that you have to like instruct people how to open or how to work. I mean, this is kind of this is supposed to be fun. They're not supposed to get it and go, I don't understand. So if this says pull out and they pull it out, and then this says push here and they push here, it lights up, right? And if the battery dies, you know, after a while, if they don't put this back in, it's their card, whatever. So I just put that back in, and now it's protected until I mail it. Now, if you're gonna mail these, they're thicker than 1/4 of an inch because we added all that foam tape and we have that battery in there and the light bulb. And so we know that they are gonna take a little more postage. I would even say the envelope that I sent is probably fine for handing to somebody, but it's probably not the best envelope to mail it in. I mean, you could, but it's still gonna be pretty thick in there. So it does fit, but you know, it's a little tricky. So just something to keep in mind. That is super cute. There is card number 1. Ta-da! All right. Now that you have card number 1 and you've made one, let's clean off all of our mess here. We're gonna make card number 2, which is this one. This is a little fairy with some little mushrooms. And when you pull out and you push on the mushroom, you get lights showing. What my plan was to have her wand look like it was lighting up this, you know, around it like magic, right? Because it says magical. And then have this lit up kind of like fireflies. I mean, that was sort of my plan. And I think I did good. This is an interesting, this is that die cut from that castle set. And I know I've shown you, let me see if I can grab it out of here. Okay. This stamp set right here comes with this die cut. It's huge, right? And that's what we're using. I just happened to cut it out in Harbor so that it would look like a night sky. Okay. So we're going to do something very similar here. Go ahead and take out, I'm going to put my thing back in here. Go ahead and take out your next kit parts, envelope, make sure it's empty, set it aside. And I didn't do all my homework. But I'll show you what we've got in here. See, I lost track of time and didn't get to cut out all my parts, and I didn't get to finish coloring. So, but we can make the card. We can still make the card. Okay, so here's this. Now, this one, as far as where the lights go, it's a lot easier. I kind of turned this around. If you have a light source or something behind it, there you can kind of see the lights behind it. I kind of looked at the die cut, and I kind of looked at the fairy to see where I wanted her up here. And so I kind of turned things around where there was more openings around her wand. Okay, so this die cut, if you turn it this way, doesn't have as many openings up here. And if you turn it this way, it has more. And if you want to do it sideways, I mean, you know, you can figure out any way you want. But the idea is to try to figure out so that you get the most light showing through. right? Okay. Now, so we're gonna put it on like this. Now, again, with the pencil, this is a black cardstock, but pencil shows up great. And this is Harbor, and this is black. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of line it up, and I'm gonna kind of put my fairy in place where I want her. And I'm gonna put a little circle where I want my light bulb to go, right there. And that way I know that her wand will be the best lit. Now the other light bulb that's in here is just kind of down here in the mushrooms. And so I just need the other light to be down here somewhere where it will show through. And so I kind of lift this up and I put another little light like that. So I want a light there and I want a light there. Now here's the issue. When you have two lights, okay, let's say we want a light here and we want a light here, right? We are going to have to make our push button somewhere where they don't intersect. We don't want the positives and negatives to crisscross over each other. So we are going to have a negative and a positive on the light bulb here, and a negative and a positive on the light bulb here. So the easiest place to put the push is either right here in the middle or off to the side. Okay, so that's what I did. I kind of made it so if this is here like that, and I'm just gonna really quick do a fast cut of these. The way I made my mushrooms look really, really cool is I used a black marker around them, so so you didn't have like all of this white, you know what I mean? It took a lot of coloring to do that, but it turned out amazing. So it's worth the time for this. All right, like to color all this in black. It takes a moment. You could leave it white if you don't want to do all that work. It's okay. All right, so we have a light bulb up here, and we have a light bulb down here. I kind of marked that. I'm holding my mushrooms in place. Now, so what we want is approximately the battery over here somewhere. So what I did was I took those smaller mushrooms and I added them so that there was one big mushroom where the battery was going to be. So it doesn't really matter, you know, where you put the battery for the picture. As long as you put a mushroom over it and say push, push there. So we'll put our battery about right here. How's that? Okay. So you can use your pencil. You can draw where your battery is going to go. You're going to have two light bulbs, one at the top, and I guess I'll use this one. One at the bottom, like this. Again, let me get we're going to have a plus on this side, a minus on this side, a plus on this side, a minus on this side. And we're going to need to make a track with our tape because the main thing is to make sure your light bulb is where you want it to be. The light up part is where you want it to be. Okay, let's take our tape again and let's start with the negative, okay? So we're going to just make a path from negative the negative part of our light to the battery. Like that. Right? And then on this one, I'm going to put the light where I want it to be. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm peeling off the tape, and I'm going to make the negative to the negative. The main thing is that the battery has to touch both of those pieces. I'm gonna do some folding on this, so that I'm gonna fold this back and straighten this out so that it looks more like this. If the two copper pieces just simply overlap each other, the only part that'll touch the battery is the one that's on the top. That's why I moved it. So this way they both will touch the battery. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna take a drink while you catch up, because I bet you need to catch up. If you need Scotch tape to hold your battery in place, just use the tiniest piece. Or if you need Scotch tape to hold your lights in place, just use the tiniest piece. And that way, you know, you don't feel like you're having to hold everything, you know. All right, so there is our battery. Now we do the positive. Now the positive is tricky, and I'm going to use a pencil. I hope it doesn't show through all my little holes. But basically, we want this tape to go over and on top, and then we want this tape to go over and on top. So, okay, let me just see if you can see that trail. I hope you can see it. It's pretty light. So you want a piece to go over and on top of the battery and over this prong and on top of the battery. So we're going to make 2 more trails, and this time we're going to go on top of the battery, and you don't want it to touch either of those negatives. That's the hardest part, really, is it's like it gets confusing. All right, there and there. All right, look. So I have the negative and the positive connected and the battery, and it's working. And it looks like my battery could use a little more connecting on that one prong. That's why I sent extra copper tape too, is because sometimes you just need a little more. Okay. Now we're going to do this one, and remember, so you're going to go across, and then when you're ready to go up, you go away from where you're going, like that. Push, 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 and then back up, like that. Now I have both lights working, see? So you know you've done it right when your light bulb's light. And boy, doesn't that look like a mess. Are you like, oh my gosh, I would never do this in a million years. This is crazy. But how fun. This one's a little fiddly. I feel like, again, I have another little, you know, fiddly piece or whatever. But when you push on it, it works great. When I let go, only this one stays connected, but that's okay. As long as I push on it and it works, I'm good. You can always use any extra, you know, copper tape that you have to shore up your connections a little. right? There you go. All right, now we're ready to foam tape. This one mine doesn't stick up as quite as far this time. So I can do my battery thing. I got my double foam tape here. And I'm just gonna make it a little V this way and a little V this way. And that way I've got a way to poke in my, my scrap piece of paper to cut the connection. But it's holding my battery in place. Now this one, the foam tape basically needs to go around the periphery. Perimeter? I don't know, I put two words together. Okay, so I'm gonna double up some foam tape again. I wish I had my thicker foam tape. I've been buying the all thin foam tape because I've been scrapbooking with it so much. And I like the thin stuff. And for cards, it's really nice to have the thinner, right? Okay. So I'm just gonna put some at the top. Put a little at the bottom. I'm trying not to cover up the holes, And then you need a little I'm gonna need a little here. That'll be covered by the fairy anyway. And a little down here. And that's pretty good. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that on. So you can see the foam tape through some of the holes, but the fairy will be up here. Pretty good. And then you're just decorating. So here's what I did, like this. And I cut out one of these. I did a nicer job of fussy cutting on these because I didn't want to color that black very much. But, you have to some if you're gonna use that technique. So I kind of tucked it in like that so that my battery, wherever my battery is, I gotta look at that again. It's here. I put that first, right? To make sure it lit up. You can see the lights, top and bottom. And so you would want to adhere your mushroom where you need it so that there is a place. And then use the other mushrooms as you want to fill in. You can see on this card, I put like the little one down here to fill in some extra space. And I put the other big one over here just to balance it a little bit. And then make each day magical. That's what I used this little silver for. You may have to use a strong adhesive on this glitter paper. So something like foam tape, something like a liquid glue, just because it's glitter. And if you don't want to use glitter, sure, don't use glitter. I mean, whatever you wish. And then you may not be able to see it in the video here, but I used a shimmer brush. Let me grab one. I just used like my shimmer brush to just kind of go over some of the lines in the die cut because it adds a little sparkle. I'm using yellow thinking you might be able to see it better, but I don't know if you can because it's pretty sheer. But I just think that glitter really, you know, to the real card adds a little something. And the adding shimmer brush to the wings of the fairy, there you can see it, shimmer. I just thought it looked kind of cool, and it made it look more like fireflies, which was the look I was going for. So I hope that looks good. I'm not going to finish my card because I didn't get my coloring done. If I would have done my homework better, I'm sorry, you guys. But I just need to take my markers and do just a little more coloring before I actually attach everything. But I'm excited how well this turned out. I love how it looks. It looks so special. Can you imagine getting this? Oh my gosh. This is too fun. And I know it uses a lot of foam tape, but you know, when you're spending, I mean, honestly, you've got a battery and light bulbs and copper tape and the time. I mean, you know, I guess it's only, has it been an hour? It's just now been like an hour and a half. That's not terrible for 2 cards, really, for this much detail. But, you know, you're spending this much time. Spend the time and make it sturdy so that the person who gets it, it doesn't fall apart on them or sag or sink. Like this one, I could have used, I might squeak another little piece of foam tape in there. It's squishy. It's like, it's saggy right there. It needs some support in my card. Can you see that? So it needs another little piece of foam tape. Take the effort to make it right so that you're good to go. Look at how cool that is. That is what I have for you, honestly. Now this one, my battery died. Once the battery dies, it's a full pull apart to get that battery out of there and replace it, because the copper tape is, you know, stuck to the top of it. So, you know, it loses a little something once the battery has died. But that took a long time because I've had this on for a good 2 or 3 weeks. And then, you know, the fireflies, fun. Aren't those cool? I just love it. How they flicker like lightning bugs. Love it, love it, love it. And again, with my planets. All right. So you guys can, you know, all right, Moose. Moose says it's time. Moose says he's ready to go outside. Thank you very much for watching. I agree, Stephanie. You know, once you understand that the connections just need to touch, just think of the possibilities. Moose, knock it off. You're driving me nuts. I'll be ready and when I'm ready. It's worse than Steve. Okay. Cool. Little bear. Yeah, I think I was wanting to make a Rudolph card for you guys for a demo. I thought it would be really cool to do his nose in red, but you know, we'll save that for closer to Christmas. We'll do another one. So You're welcome. I'm glad you liked it. Oh my gosh, this has been a heck of a week for me. Did you see that I won those distress watercolor crayons, Steph? Oh my gosh, I was so excited. I was like, I don't even know how to use them. I've never used them. I won these in a drawing. So I can't wait to try those out. Those will be fun. Okay, and congratulations, Nancy, on winning the big hip hip hooray prize. I will put that in the mail to you. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you participating in the classes. I don't have a lot of classes because it seems like everybody's always busy. And then it ends up being like me with one person or something. And so this is really exciting to have several people here and making the cards together. And I would do it more often if we have good turnout. Yay-hoo! So, or maybe you have something you want to show me. You can do a class. Anyway, thank you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll chat later. Bye-bye.